might not be Lemmings, but at least it's a game that begins with L. Does that count? No? Maybe next time then. Hey guys, welcome back after a very long layoff. This is Bill, once again with the Nintendo Super Power Club Challenge channel. Today we are looking at a game that has flown under the radar with pretty much every gamer I've ever talked to in life. This is Lester the Unlikely on the Super NES, and this is card number 116 in the collection. So you might be intrigued and interested, thinking that this is an underrated gem on the Super NES library, like a diamond in the rough that you dug out of the sand. No, it's not. It's just like any other game out there that you probably never heard of before. I will say that there are some interesting quirks to the story and with character progression in this game. I really wasn't expecting that much. But in terms of the actual gameplay, nothing special, nothing to write home about. And the challenge is actually pretty high, especially given what we have to do here. Speaking of which, let's flip the card over and let's see what we do have to do. Okay, so this challenge is a little bit misleading in the text here, so let's clear up exactly what they want us to do. The challenge says, without using a single continue, how far can you go? On Pro, they want us to go to, quote, stage 12, the docks, unquote. So to be clear, initially when I saw this card, what I thought they were asking me to do was go through 12 different screens. I thought every screen was a stage, and thus that's going to put you around the gorilla boss fight, which is technically only the intermediate challenge. So I thought I had the challenge done, and I didn't, so I had to go back and redo this once again. And I gotta tell you, the pro section right up before the docks is absolutely pro level. So you're gonna get your money's worth with this video here. As for the game itself, it's mostly just platforming, but the big problem that makes it so difficult is the play control. It ranks right up there, or should I say down there, with the Jungle Book. It is extremely frustrating to get the character to grab onto things like vines, make specific jumps, and I'd rather not talk about it anymore. I'd rather just show you the evidence. So sit back, you know the deal, relax if you can, and let's watch Lester the Unlikely on the Super NES. Lester the Unlikely, maybe more like Bernard the Unlikely from Maniac Mansion. No, seriously, look at him. Look at the way he walks, the runs, talks, and you're gonna see all of his mannerisms are so dopey. The way he acts, I mean, look at this. The way he acts when he walks, gets scared, won't fall down a cliff, and you're gonna see when he runs into enemies here. You remember the green tentacle from Maniac Mansion? Yeah, it's almost exactly the same thing. He's gonna come up upon some crabs and turtles here very shortly, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Just check this out. He's coming up on a crab right about here, runs away at a dinky little crab, and it's more of the same with more of these enemies here. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, his mannerisms, all that stuff. Lester the Unlikely is basically a platforming game, and it's not quite as good. What am I saying? Not quite. Not nearly as good. By the way, there's a health potion. Pick it up, get an extra hit point. And that's important because remember, in this challenge, you only get 2 lives here, and you cannot use any continues. The moment you do, the challenge is over. Now, fortunately, you don't really have to worry about that in the early going. The first few stages, I'd say at least, are not anywhere difficult enough to the point where you have to worry about dying, let alone using a continue. By the way, push that rock over, then jump up here. This first stage is pretty simplistic. Actually, the first couple stages are pretty simplistic as far as the beach is concerned. So you're just really learning how to use the controls at this point, whether it's moving, walking, jumping, whatever it is. That was the first stage of the beach. Pretty simple. Now we enter stage 2, and it's going to be a lot more of the same with only a couple major changes here. The first one, you're going to see there's a big pit of spikes. So this is going to test your ability to jump long distances just like that. So you can jump a long distance from a running stop start, if that makes any sense. You don't have to get a running start, but obviously it's much better if you can get the hang of it while running, because there will be times where you'll probably have to do that, and also jumping long distances from a stop. Other than that, kick more turtles, kick more crabs, it's more of the same. There's only one real thing to watch out for here. You will need to pick up a particular item in order to complete this level. That is a big diamond, and we'll show you that as we come upon it. And took an unfortunate hit there, but it doesn't matter because we have a hit point. And you're gonna see, or rather a hit flask, I should say. And you're gonna see there are many instances where there are flasks to refill your energy in the early going here. It's very forgiving and generous, so don't worry about taking hits too much here in the opening salvo of levels. Now you have a seagull here, just run, run, run till you get to this box, use X, push it out of the way, and that's it for the beach. Now we move into the cave levels here, and you're going to see, again, it's more of the same. There will be some new enemies here you have to be aware of, mainly bats. There's also some weapons you can pick up, mainly the rocks. Now you're going to see, also we got dripping acid, so a lot of things to watch out for here. Obviously the game is getting a lot more tricky and difficult. When you come up upon these bats, initially you're going to be scared away by them, just like the crabs and the turtles. But once you get the courage built up, you'll be able to come back, and you can't necessarily kill them, but you can scare them away with the rock here. So you're coming up on the bats right about here. When you come back around, get pretty close to them, right about there, a little bit closer actually, and unfortunately we screwed that up. But just pick up another rock, get a little bit closer, toss it, and again, they'll fly away, never to be seen again. Now you're going to keep on going that way. Make sure you pick up the rock. Rocks will come in handy, not just in this level, but in many, many levels toward the end of the game here. So definitely don't waste them. Now, end of the stage is down at the bottom here. You're going to come all the way over this way. You can opt to throw the rock at the bats or just run right past them. That's the end of that level. Alright, we've got one more tricky cave section here, and basically you're going to make sure to pick up a jewel, emerald, sapphire, whatever, some sort of gem. You need to pick it up in order to exit the level here and clear the final door. To get it, first get that rock, and then run, jump back here, and up here there is a health pickup if you need it, by the way, which in my case I did. Again, the game is pretty generous with health pickups in the early going, so don't worry about taking hits. Throw the rock against the wall, and then pick up this emerald gem. You're going to go back this way. Now, I do recommend dropping down like this before you run across, or you will take a hit. So be very, very careful with that. I've done this level plenty of times to know very well not to do that. So just play cautiously. One thing to note in this game is that there is no time limit, so you can take your time, except in very rare circumstances near the end of the game where there are time sequences. And we'll talk more about those when we get to them. But we're coming up upon another bat here. Just throw the rock, and unfortunately we missed. Oh, this is going to get ugly here. Right there on the light is where I have to drop the gem, and oh my goodness, we're screwing this up big time. Very, very lucky to get out of that without losing a life. But again, there will be chances to earn our hit points back here. So keep running through. We're back on the beach, obviously. Kick the enemies here. Don't take deaths. Don't take hits. And this should be a very simple level to grind through without much effort here. The beach levels in general are pretty simple. I believe there was a health potion back down there if I'm not mistaken, so in my case I probably should have done that. Make sure that you climb down, of course. Never ever jump down from a blind ledge if you don't know what's down there. Another spiked pit, very easy to jump across at this point. Nothing but review, nothing new. Keep on moving. You're going to see some totems here. You're going to be able to walk past most of them. Now notice how he's kind of scared here. That will be a foreshadowing of what's to come in just a couple moments here. These are regular totems that we'll just look at and observe you here. This next set of totem poles, the purple ones, are evil. They will hurt you, so you have to actually kick and destroy them. Pretty interesting there. We would have actually taken a death had we not done that. Now we're getting pretty close to the end here, just a few more enemies to take out. This emerald diamond that we have to pick up to end the level is coming up here. It's going to be down here, so turn around, drop down very carefully. Don't just fall down there. You will take a hit. And drop down again. There's that diamond. And we're just going to take that all the way to the end of this level here. And that's going to complete it. This wasn't too tricky. Really just a nice little review of levels 1 and 2 here. Not too bad. There may be another enemy or two if I'm not mistaken. If not, whatever. Not a big deal. And we're going to come up across a little stone podium. There it is. Just drop the gem right on it. Run right through. If you hadn't done it, by the way, that totem pole would have killed you with eye lasers. So very important you do that. This level's annoying if you don't know what to expect. You're going to have platforms that fall down into the lava, but more importantly than that, there are ghost hands that will suck you down in, so you need to be very, very careful of this. You can opt to run jump across all of it, or take your time. I recommend just running through it because you really don't want to be placed in the middle of those two lava platforms there with a chance of a ghost getting you. You're going to have a puzzle coming up here. Just grab the first one, drop it in the fire, grab the second one, drop it in the fire. It's very simple. That's all you got to do. If you touch the third one and drop it in, you don't want to know what happens, so I'm not going to tell you what happens. Drop the first two in there, run all the way to the end, and that's it for the ghost graveyard swamp, whatever you want to call it. Now we're getting into a jungle hut area. A little change of scenery here. The only reason I'm going in this hut here is to get a health potion refill, and that's a very good thing to do considering it's going to get tougher, obviously, so now we have 2 hit points. You want to ideally go into the 5th hut. The 5th hut is how you advance the game. So there's 1, 2, 3, we've got 2 more, 4, and then the last one we're going to walk into is the one we have to go in order to complete this section of the level here. So you're gonna go back over to the left, and this is a little statue platform, whatever it is. You're gonna push it all the way over to the right. However you get over, it doesn't matter. Use X, push it across all the way to the edge, and then climb up it, jump out the window, and you're on to the next section. But before you get there, you got this nice little bikini broad bimbo. Talk to her for a minute and then exit that section. Now, we're gonna move on to a section that's definitely trickier here, and I will point out the idea of this level is to get up on top of the huts and just run across them before they fall in. It is possible to do, but honestly, it's not worth it. Just fall down in the middle and you'll see why. So basically, Lester's been captured by the natives and now we have to escape. So you're gonna lure him over, go to the far left, the native's gonna come over and turn around. Go back over, hit X, take the key. Now, go over to the pile of rocks if you haven't already. Throw a rock far over to the left. As soon as he passes you, go back over to the door, use the key and escape. Easy, done, dusted, next level. Okay, now we're entering into very difficult territory here. This is where you're gonna probably have to die and reset a lot to learn the game quite a bit, because I can't tell you how many times I had to reset here. All right, so what's going on? We have fish jumping through the river, we have snakes that are coming down from the vines, and you have to know how to avoid them, how to duck them, and how to kill the snakes, obviously. You're gonna have 3 sections where you're gonna have to eventually jump onto vines to avoid falling off a cliff here, but that's going to come shortly. So as you can see, the level is gonna alternate between snakes and fish, and by the way, you get a nice little groovy dance here. So here's your first jump. You're gonna jump across. Didn't have a vine there that you had to worry about, luckily. Now the second one, you're gonna have a snake coming very quickly. Yep, make sure you get back before it can kill you. And this is where you could lose a life potentially, and you only get 2 through the course of one continue. So you gotta be very careful and strategic about how you're gonna use a life, if you're gonna use a life. And this is certainly one possibility where you could die. So just be careful of that. Lots of practice will be needed here. So usually, again, it's gonna go snake, fish, maybe 2 fish, 3 fish and a snake. Just be aware of it. You have to be able to induce tricking the snake, kind of like this, and then running back. They are waiting for you, I promise. There is a health pickup here. Absolutely pick it up. Can't tell you how important it is. And here's your third raft you're gonna have to worry about here. Just watch out for those snakes. Keep your eye on the ceiling or on the top of the trees at all times to know when those snakes are gonna come. Eventually, you're gonna have one final jump here toward the end of this raft river here. That's coming up in just a little bit here. Just a few more ducking under the fish. Here we go. Now you're gonna be able to jump, get the vine, jump across, and that's pretty much it. Now, oh boy, you want to talk vine swinging? Look what you're about to walk into here. This is one of the most difficult parts of the run, and there are quite a few, I should say. So look out for the 2 snakes, look out for that little gas pit, I guess, and then come on up here. Basically, what you're going to do, you're going to be swinging across vines on treetops that are about 30 feet up in the air. If you fall down, you may as well take a death, because all the frustration you're about to incur, it's just not worth it. So when you jump, take a look at what I'm doing here. You jump right at the end, and you basically want to jump at the apex of the end of the vine, with the exception of the very last one, which is coming up right about here. So the second vine, wait till you're just about past the midway point and then jump again, and then you'll be at the end. Again, very, very frustrating, tedious part of the level right there. Can't tell you how many times I failed it. Here, this is a little bit easier. Just gonna take this, push it all the way across. You're going to pick up this candle here, and you're gonna use this candle to get through to the next part of this level here, where you'll get a weapon for fighting the upcoming gorilla boss. Yes, we're almost at the part of the intermediate challenge now, which I initially thought was the pro challenge, but of course that was not the case. So basically, you get the candle, you're gonna put it where it needs to go so you can burn this little anchor, so to speak, and it'll let you go through to the next part of the level here. We're just about where we need to be. We just gotta push this thing back over to where it needs to go. We went a little too far, right about there. Put the candle down, right about there, and it's gonna burn through. There it goes. Now you have to jump over the hole, don't fall through it. Now you're gonna have to watch out for this pendulum that's gonna swing from the, whoa, right over here, from the top of the ceiling here. It could hit you a couple times. Thankfully it didn't. Just be very careful. And then pick up this boomerang here right at the end, toss it to break the lock, and you escape, and you're on to the end part of this level, which is the boss. This is the gorilla. So the gorilla looks big, fearsome, and menacing, but really he's not as difficult as you might think. All you have to do is watch for the rustling of the leaves at the top of the tree, wait for him to come down, and then if you see it fast enough, you can preemptively throw the boomerang, and then throw it a second time, get 3 or 4 good shots on him before he goes back up into the trees again. Just wash, rinse, repeat, do the same thing over and over again, and usually within about, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 cycles, something like that, he'll go down fairly easily. Again, this is not a very difficult challenge provided you watch the rustling of the leaves. So that's it. The intermediate challenge, if that's all we cared about, is now done and out of the way. But of course, this is the Pro Challenge channel, not the intermediate challenge. So we're going to continue onward here into a much more difficult section of the game here. And this is pretty difficult if you don't know what's coming up. You're going to have a jaguar or a cheetah or whatever chasing you through some muddy, acid, quicksand pits, whatever you want to call them. And you have to jump across them using vines, and you have to do it very, very quickly. The key thing I would say is that when you jump on these vines, get on them and jump off as quick as you possibly can. By the way, there's a double jump. Most people will die there. Very end of this section here, throw the boomerang one time at the rocks and then very quickly jump up here to avoid the ensuing avalanche of rocks. Those will one-shot you no matter how much health you have, by the way. So that's a very dangerous section. You have another cave section here. By the way, get this blue torch. You don't need the other ones. The blue torch is what matters, so pick that up. And basically, you're going to see a whole bunch of blocked, locked, closed doors here. Make sure you hit the floor switches, and that's going to cause some of them to go up here. You have to trip them in a specific order in order to make these switches and these doors go up. And basically, just watch what I do it verbatim. Maybe not footstep for footstep, but if you follow exactly what I'm doing, you'll get through this portion of the game without much trouble here. By the way, if you've been paying close attention to Lester, you probably noticed that ever since he kissed the girl, he's now walking and running with a lot more bravery and more of a purpose now. So this is where character progression is kind of cool with this game. You wouldn't expect to have it with a clunky Bernard Maniac Mansion type character, but you definitely see it here. So this is a nice little touch with the graphics and the story, I will say, as ridiculous as it is. But enough about that. Back to the actual game. So at this point, we've basically opened all the doors we need. Now we're just going back up over to the right. We're going to continue going over and down all the way. And when we get to the very bottom, without hitting a dead end like this, eventually we're going to go all the way down to the bottom and over to the far left. And that's going to take us to the end of the maze section of caves and into a much more difficult section of caves here, which will have a crushing ceiling. More on that in a little bit once we get to the end of this one here. So we're pretty much good to go. We just have a series of 3 or 4 ladders to climb down, go through the end, far over to the left, and wait till you see what we got here. You're going to have your blood pressure pumping just a little bit higher than you were in this one because there's more of a threat now. Okay, to start the second part of these caves off, you're going to have 2 floor switches, 3 floor switches that you have to hit in order to open some doors and get to the end here. And by the way, when you do that, you're going to trigger the crushing ceiling. So just follow the path exactly as I've laid out here. Make sure you jump that, because if you don't, you'll fall in a hole, and the odds of completing this level will go down significantly. And by the way, we took a dead end there, but that's okay. Thankfully, we are far enough ahead of the crushing ceiling where it's not going to matter too much. Again, follow exactly what I'm doing. I can't harp that enough, but if you do that, you will eventually get to the end and you'll be on the far right side here. Keep on running, and we are almost done with the caves, but that's probably the toughest section here if you don't count this, which can be glitched and cheesed, by the way. Just do what I do. You get lucky, you can walk off the platform just like that, and you can get right to the end. Normally, you'd have to throw your boomerang at that boulder to destroy it, and it's very, very tedious and annoying. Thankfully, we didn't have to do that there. Now here, just take it very slowly. Run across these 2 bridges here. Watch out for the spiders. Don't touch them. Take note of where the stalactites are. And eventually, you're just going to keep on moving, and you're going to have another boss at the end here. By the way, there's a health potion, another stalactite, another couple spiders. Just, again, pay very close attention to what you're doing. There's no time limit. That's the biggest piece of advice. Now comes your second boss, is the spider. You don't have to worry about killing it, but you do need to get through that door. How do you do it? You got to use your boomerang. Now the problem is, it's just like the gorilla. He'll come down out of nowhere and try to kill you and hurt you. But the problem that makes this more difficult is that he doesn't really give a tell when he's going to come down here. So you kind of have to count in your head and anticipate when he's coming and whoa, move out of the way. Normally you can get 1, sometimes 2 shots with the boomerang and then turn, run out of the way really quickly before he'll try to slam you. And there we go. 1, maybe 2 more shots with the boomerang will do it. We're just kind of timing it to where we know where he's coming. and there it is. Sometimes that can be a very tricky one, but thankfully we got out of there. Now we are into the final section of this pro level run here. You gotta pay attention. You're gonna have lava coming at you from the far left. You have to keep running, and not necessarily gunning, but jumping across these lava pits with fire coming out of the bottom. You're gonna have 2 bridges to run across. Count them very carefully, and then a couple more lava pits with fire coming out of the bottom. And then very last thing you gotta worry about is this climb out of this chasm pit. Doesn't matter if you do it from the left or right side. Just keep going, 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 going. Sometimes if you delay and take your time, this could be much more entertaining and exciting than it actually is. The lava could be chasing you, but we're so far ahead at this point, it doesn't really matter. So keep going up. You're going to see a ladder will come down from either side of the pit you chose to climb. There it is. Go up it. And just like that, challenge number 116 for Lester the Unlikely will be in the books. I made it look easy, but I'm telling you right now, it is anything but that. There are certainly some levels that are cheesy and easy, but a lot of those vine swinging levels especially are anything but that. So please take your time, study the levels in advance before you even attempt this challenge, because you will be pulling the hairs of your head out if you don't. But there we are. Challenge said, get to the docks. We're done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it as always. I will tell you right now, the next challenge is not Lemmings, but we're probably going to have a couple Game Boy games on the horizon next. I think Daffy Duck will probably be next here. Take care, everyone. We look forward to seeing you in the next challenge. We now have 39 left to go.